Hello and welcome to Rediff.com's The Stumps Show. I'm Hemant Waze and we have with us Mr. Prem Panikar to discuss day 2 of the Adelaide match between India and Australia. Hello Prem.
Hi Hemant, how are you doing?
Uh, so India is crumbling down and I hope if they survive day 3, we can wait for some magic on day 4.
Well, it's highly unlikely that uh, with two recognized batsmen in the crease, just Ashwin and the tail to follow, I don't see them surviving day 3. That's not a possibility. It's almost miraculous if it happens. Um, I think the thing that strikes me about the second innings that India played is we've just faced 24 overs and we've lost 5 top order wickets. That talks of a significant lack of application because if you look at it, the Australian first innings and the Indian second innings were in identical conditions. Australia batted in the third session yesterday. They had 33 overs to face, part of it in that twilight zone, part of it under lights. They lost Khwaja early, but Labuschagne, who's out of form, McSweeney, who had a bad debut at Perth, both of them under pressure, but they actually had the application to bat through that entire period. They didn't look very pretty doing it, but they played and missed a lot of times. They were beaten a lot of times, but they hung in there and just looked at seeing the day through, particularly the most difficult part of the day through. Whereas India was like happy to go along at 5 and over, which looks great. But 5 wickets down, all 4 top order batsmen down, number 6 Rohit Sharma out. Uh, it just talks of a way too indisciplined approach to what India had to do, particularly when it was facing such a large deficit. So yeah,
But don't you think it is to do with India's bowlers last night compared to Australians?
no, I thought the Indian bowlers bowled very well. I don't think they were particularly off. You could make the case that Harshit Rana wasn't particularly effective, but Bumrah and Siraj were both excellent even
No,
last
no, I'm
evening.
saying I'm
They
I'm talking about last nights, like yesterday in the third session. We didn't utilize the situation in our favor.
I'm not sure how you say that because they bowled well. They beat the bat often.
Yeah,
Uh, there were half chances. It's
yeah.
just that they didn't get wickets, but it's not that they bowled badly. Here, if you look at the Indian dismissals, for instance, Rahul was caught uh, hooking while was caught playing, away from the body, outside edge going into. Jaiswal, at least you could say that ball and bowled a superb delivery. Similarly, the ball that bowled Shubman Gill was excellent. And to an extent, the ball that got rid of Rohit was also equally good. It's one of those classic fast bowler dismissals where you bowl on length just around the middle and off, and then the ball straightens past the edge and hits top of off. But the other 2 wickets were largely gifts. Kohli, again, just sort of playing with hard hands outside the off stump to a ball in the channel and nicking off. And yeah, uh, so I don't think it was basically that we bowled badly yesterday. I think it was that even though they weren't getting runs, the Aussie batsmen showed the application to just hang around in there and see off that period, which put them in a good position this morning because the batting conditions were better and they could take advantage of that. Whereas by the time
But
it
if
comes
you
tomorrow
but if
morning,
you
we don't
but if
have
you
enough
compare
batting left.
but if you compare Indian batsmen in first session of day one or second session of day one and Australian batsmen today, uh, what do you think? What Australian batsmen did differently which Indian batsmen couldn't do in this test?
I think the first thing that you need to notice is that they did the hard yards last evening and set it up for this morning. They lost a
Right.
wicket early, McSweeney falling to Bumrah, but after that, almost all of them batted in partnerships. There was a good partnership between Labuschagne and Head. There was a partnership between Head and, very small partnership between Head and Marsh, but there was a longer partnership between Head and Carey. So, unlike the Indians who kept losing in both innings, kept losing wickets in a heap, one, two, three would fall altogether. The Australians, there were partnerships in between those wickets. And the other thing is that they batted to their strengths. Labuschagne played himself in. He started looking more like the Labuschagne of old towards the latter half of his innings. And
Right.
Travis Head counter-attacked superbly. There was nothing. He put such pressure on the Indian bowling lineup that uh, they seemed clueless once he really got going. Uh, I'd actually, make the point that Labuschagne's innings is worth more than he is. Worth more than the sort of notice that it's going to get. Because if you look at that Labuschagne Head partnership, one of the things that I noticed it was a partnership of about 65 runs in 86 balls. It was Labuschagne who actually outscored Travis Head. Labuschagne scored 44 of 59, and Head had 32 of 50. Uh,
Right.
he was stroking beautifully, and as happens with a good batsman, when he is starting to see the ball well and to move the ball well, he was getting runs on both sides of the wicket. Yesterday, there was almost nothing on the offside. Today, he had a lot of good offside runs, nice drives, pushes. All of those strokes started coming back. So, yeah,
So as we discussed yesterday, Indian bowlers did change their lines and lengths, uh, and they, like Bumrah and Siraj especially, they tested rewards for it. But I think Harshit Rana was not up to the mark, and he leaked too many runs. Do you think for the third test they will replace Harshit Rana with Prasidh Krishna, or maybe India may call Mohammad Shami for third match?
I doubt that Mohammad Shami is going to be able to. There's not much of a gap between this test and the next test. It's just about 3 days or so. So I doubt that Mohammad Shami is going to be able to get to Australia and acclimatize in time. Another thing is, right in the middle of a test is not really the best time to start thinking about who you're going to throw out and who you're going to keep. I do agree that Harshit Rana, particularly this morning, he completely released the pressure. There were 5 overs that he bowled in the morning session. He gave away 38 runs, uh, including there was this. I think it was the 51st over when he went for 4 fours, three back-to-back fours to Labuschagne, and before that 1 4 to Travis Head. Um, I think that caused a lot of problems for India because Bumrah and Siraj had bowled long spells before Harshit Rana took over from. I think he took over from Bumrah, and you needed to keep the pressure up, which Rana wasn't able to. It was lucky that Nitish Kumar Reddy came in and bowled a nice tight line and even got a wicket as a bonus. But
Yeah.
it put too much pressure on Bumrah and Siraj to strike. And that kind of thing, particularly when batsmen are counter-attacking, it's always difficult to counter.
Uh, you spoke about Travis Head, India's tormentor, India's biggest headache. He was at it again. He scored a magnificent century, 140
Yeah.
runs in 141 balls. So, and he gave an upper hand to Australians. So, what do you think about him?
No, Travis Head has been, like you said, he's been a nuisance for the Indian side right through. He took the World Cup away from us. He took the WTC uh, championship game away from us. Uh, and he did it. He did almost did that in Perth as well when he scored a century. and now he's doing it again. The thing with Travis Head is one. I mean, if you look at the first shot that he played, I think it was he just played a flailing kind of cover drive to almost the first or the second ball that he faced, and from then on he was like in counter-attacking mode. And the thing with Travis Head is he's got very fast hands.
Yeah,
He loves playing square of the wicket, both sides of the wicket, by the way. And I think one of the mistakes, particularly Harshit Rana, but even to an extent Siraj and Bumrah, gave him that room outside off stump. And when you do that with Head, he just goes. He goes so hard that there's almost no stopping the ball. Even the few times that it takes the edge, it goes so very fast that nobody is going to be able to get a hand to it. So yeah, I mean, he's been, and he also loves playing in Adelaide. He's got a great record over here. I think he averages more than 70 in Adelaide, 71 or 72, something like that. So
yeah,
yeah, no
yeah.
surprise that Head. And but when you look up at that Head innings, I think it was made possible by the fact that the McSweeney Labuschagne partnership of yesterday
Mm,
brought Australia to a point where batting conditions were far better,
yeah.
and therefore Head could actually attack from ball one or counter attack from ball one. So yeah, uh, no surprise, but he really took the game away.
Yeah, it's a big task ahead for Indians on day three. But so should we talk about third test already, or do you
No,
think
I
this
think
will?
it's let's take it one test at a time. Still got some life in it at least.
Yeah,
Uh, it should last the whole of tomorrow unless there is a continuation of the collapse. Uh, Probably stretch into at least the early part of day four. So we can leave third test for when the third test is due.
yeah.
Right now, it's India in a sorry position, and frankly, India has itself to blame for this. If your top six batters are not going to survive 24 overs, yeah, the conditions are difficult, but you can't always play a one note style of thing where you are constantly attacking and you say that you will bat with intent, you will do this, that, and the other. You've got to also give some respect to the conditions, some respect to the opposition bowlers. And this is the second innings in a row that India hasn't done that here in Adelaide, and they're paying a price for it.
I think Pant and now even Nitish Reddy, they step out for Boland and against Cummins too. So is it a way on how to play day-night tests?
So look, stepping out to Boland is not actually a bad thing because Boland is one of those metronomical bowlers who you can almost guarantee that he will land the ball in pretty much the same spot all the time. And he bowls at best in the very early 130s. He's not express pace. So for batsmen who are of the attacking caliber of Nitish and Rishabh, it's fair enough that they step out to attack. The problem is that the attacking play would have benefited a lot more if the top order had given them some runs and a
Yeah,
decent platform, and then you could counter attack. Whereas, uh, again, if you notice that, that's why I brought up the point about Labuschagne actually outscoring Travis Head in the partnership that they had. At that time, Australia was still behind India's first innings score. And so, I mean, Travis Head didn't just go berserk at that point. It's after Australia started getting a lead and he felt in a more comfortable position that he then started opening out. India's problem is that we were facing a deficit. It was a sizable deficit, and it didn't look like the focus was on erasing the deficit before really going hard. It's like you just went hard from the beginning. I mean, even KL Rahul, for instance, whose defense is the reason why he's so successful. That was way too early to play a hook against a brand new pink ball without ever being in position. And I don't know. I watched them bat and I couldn't quite figure out what the thinking was. It's, it's like yeah, we'll just play our shots and out ho gaya to ho gaya, but it's not how you play.
Yeah, right. Absolutely right. I hope they will learn their lessons and do good in third test. Or if Pant can do his Pant things, then I hope we are in for some something. I hope.
Yeah,
So
well,
that's it
we'll
from
see. I
yeah,
mean, between Rishabh and Hitesh and maybe a little bit of Ashwin, they'll need to first erase the 29-run deficit, and then they need at least a couple of hundred runs on the board, which basically means that these two, with the little assist from Pant, will have to actually bat out of their skins.
yeah,
Do they have the talent for it? They do. Can they do it against a charged up Aussie attack? We'll see tomorrow.
yeah. Thank you, Prem. That's it from the
Thanks.
Stumps Show today. We will meet again tomorrow after day 3. Thank you.